Welcome to the Firestone Williams Report. It is Wednesday, June 12th, 2013, and I've got a few guests in the house with me, amongst them Greg Gaylord. How are you today, Greg?
Not too bad, how are you?
Good, good. So, Gaylord Flooring, tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, we're a small Ontario hardwood flooring manufacturer based in Tweed, Ontario.
Now, isn't that where Elvis is from?
He is. He's one of our sales.
And he works for you, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Does he play?
Oh yeah.
Well, what does he play? What are some of his big hits? Amanda, do you know? Oh, come on! I put you on the spot now. Come on, don't just sit there. Help me out.
Nobody here is old enough to know, Bruce. Just kidding.
All right. You must know a few. You come from Tweed.
Oh yeah.
How about Hound Dog Finish?
Oh, Hound Dog Finish. Okay, that's Amanda Wagorn from Luxart Homes. We'll get to you in a minute, Amanda. Maybe last, now that you've torpedoed our show. So, Greg, tell us more about Elvis in the House.
Oh, about Elvis or about Gaylord hardwood flooring?
Well, how about some guerrilla marketing? Do you do any guerrilla marketing, and if so, what kind?
We try our best to. We have our mascot, Made in Canada Man. Who,
I've seen him.
Have you seen him?
Red and white, I guess.
Yeah, you've never met him live, though, have you?
No, I think that might be your brother in there, but I'm not going to give away any secrets on the show. David Gaylord.
Yeah. I've done it too, but I'm not as animated.
Oh, okay. He's the younger brother, though.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course.
He's got the flamboyant thing going on, I'd say.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah,
we're going to get to you a second last, Mark.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you've done some other guerrilla marketing, though.
We try to do whatever we can.
Yeah.
We're small, so we don't have a huge marketing budget, and we haven't found traditional marketing to be super effective. But we try to do a lot of Facebook posting and Twitter posting.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Things like that.
Now, didn't you do something with Times Square recently?
Yeah, we just put a full ad in Times Square, so it was pretty exciting, pretty costly, but hopefully worthwhile.
Okay, now to the audience out there, it was kind of fake.
Yeah, it was fake. We did it to put on Twitter and Facebook and get some attention that way without having to buy the space on Times Square.
Yeah, it would be pretty expensive, I imagine. Yeah. Well, one of the things that we're seeing more and more of in the sports business is where you have rink boards and boards at Major League Baseball stadiums, which are not really there, right? And of course ads on the field, playing surface that are not real either. So I guess Gaylord Flooring's kind of doing some of that too.
Yeah, we started all that stuff.
Oh, you started.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, enough of this. So you're going to ask me any questions, or are we just going to go on with the show here?
Well, I was just curious. I haven't seen you for a while.
It's been a while.
Wondering what you've been up to lately.
Now I'm glad I asked myself that question, and the answer is I was over in Sweden for 10 days. I was teaching at Hyper Island. I had 60 students from all across Sweden, in fact from Germany and elsewhere, who came to study advanced business models with me. Although in Sweden we're allowed to call it startup DNA. Not allowed to do that in conservative Canada, but we're trying to figure out what is the DNA of successful startups. And these were digital data strategists. These are people generally around 24 years of age who have incredible business models. One of them was Postify.se. SE stands for Sweden. And Postify.se, for example, allows you to send a postcard anywhere in the world with one of your pictures. So if you took a picture, Amanda, on holiday, and you wanted to send that to your kids or to your grandmother or whatever, you just load it up to Postify. They do some image rendering, and off it goes. And postcards in the mail with your picture, having a great time. Yeah. All right. Well, I lied. We're gonna turn to you now, Amanda. Tell us more about Luxart Homes.
Well, Luxart Homes, we're based in the west of Ottawa area, primarily Carleton Place and Bedwood.
Right.
We build a variety of homes. We have two main subdivisions. One's a city subdivision in the town of Carleton Place.
With water and sewer.
With water and sewer, exactly, and that's what I define sort of as a city subdivision.
Yeah, right.
And then we also have a more estate-style living community, which is not city water, but septic and well.
Right.
Larger lots, more trees, more privacy, called Maggie's Place, and that's over on the Beckwith side as well.
Yeah, okay. Now, Carleton Place, I thought was going to take off and was going to be like a suburb of Canada, a suburb of Ottawa, when the new highway was completed, the 4-lane highway from Ottawa to Carleton Place. What impact has that had on your business?
The 4-lane highway has been huge, and what it's primarily done is allowed a lot of big box stores to move west We have the Home Depot and the Starbucks and all of those nice big stores moving out to Carleton Place and not being afraid to do so, given that there's such great.
So you like big box stores?
Well, they're good for people coming into the area. To
right,
have those,
they want
those
that,
resources.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Now, in Ottawa, there's a big push to get everybody living in an apartment above a pub on Elgin Street, right? That gets a laugh around the table here, but there's a big push on and not to expand. And so, I guess I have a question for you, Amanda, and to some extent yourself as well, Richard, in a minute. And that is, Ottawa has capped the urban boundary, and they say, well, we're not going to allow people to go out any further. We want to go up. And so I'm wondering if you're seeing some of that spilling over into Carleton Place. People who still do want, the white picket fence.
There's a lot of people out there who still want the white picket fence and some space and some room and a place for the kids to ride the bikes down the street or play on the front yard. And
right.
And that's the kind of families that we're working with out in our areas more westward, because we have that access to space and there's no development restraints that you might see in Ottawa.
Right.
There's a lot of flexibility for what we can do out there.
So would people be moving out there for more space or lower prices?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
You can get a lot more bang for your buck out that area, just given that the prices are still a bit lower. They're coming up, but they're still a bit lower, which is great, because you've got that proximity to town,
right.
But you can put several $1,000s back in your pocket.
All right, so we're going to come to you next, Richard, but and we'll last to you, Mark, but Amanda, what do you think differentiates Luxart from all the other competitors out there? Because there are a lot of home builders in Ottawa and in Carleton Place.
We offer a lot of flexibility to our clients. Our plans are really great. They're very efficiently designed, and we allow our clients to change them as they see fit. Our customer service is excellent. You're dealing directly with the owners of the business, and we're very quick to respond and very efficient.
How many women owners of home building businesses are there in Ottawa, Carleton, Gatineau, Carleton Place?
Fewer, I think.
I don't know. Richard?
No, I am one of two owners in our business.
There's a second one.
Yeah, my husband's a co-owner.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, listen, I know people who know you, and they say you're the principal of the business, with no disrespect meant to anybody else.
Well, yeah, I do the behind-the-scenes stuff, and my husband does the actual construction of our houses.
Right.
He does an excellent job. It's a wonderful product to sell.
So you've got a good team there. All right, Richard. We're going to come to Richard Bureau from Campanale Homes. You're the sales manager there. How long have you been with Campanale?
I've been with Campanale now for 4 whole months. Previously with Richcraft for 10 years.
All right. Well, you would have to go back even further to have built my home. I had a Richcraft home on the golf course in Canada Lakes, but that would be 20 years ago. So that predates you. So you had 10 years of experience at Richcraft. What prompted you to move to Campanale?
It was an exciting new opportunity. I went from being in the sales office to actually being the sales manager, where I was managing several offices, which was quite nice.
Yeah.
So
and how many people are working with you in the sales office or offices?
We have 3 sales ladies.
Okay.
We have 3 different sites. We're still finishing up our Prince of Wales site on the Rideau, and we have a brand new site in Barhaven, Longfield Station.
Wow, yeah,
which is a great site.
Great site,
over 700 units going in there.
Wow, that's big.
Condos, low-rise apartment
There's
buildings,
some office condos, as I recall.
There's some office condos.
Because I know Century 21. Here's a shameless plug. Sorry, everybody, but my youngest son there, Matthew Firestone, has been working with you to sell some of those office condos. I think a couple anyway.
Matt's been awesome, and yes, the main floor of this building, it's a 48-unit building.
Yeah.
And we're dedicating the main floor to predominantly office condos.
And
they're just moving.
And it's great to see, because one of the things I do a fair amount of commercial real estate, as listeners will know, and one of the things that kind of has bothered me for at least 6 years, if not 7 or 8, is the fact that in Ottawa, if you're a plumber, an electrician, a surveyor, or for that matter, a dentist, a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, finding a place that you can own yourself is a lot harder than finding a place that you can lease.
Absolutely.
And so that's a demand that you've decided to meet with the product in Barhaven. Why did you do it?
I think that, well, you said it yourself, there's the opportunity there. And I mean, we deal with a number of smaller businesses, doctors, lawyers, and really they don't have a place. Accountants, and they don't really have a place. They have to lease, and leasing is expensive.
Yeah,
It makes a lot more sense to just buy your unit And if you need to expand, buy more than one.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an accountant, like I know Matthew's client is an accountant, and I think he bought a couple of them. And you know, rather than pay, you know, and he's a young man, I would guess in his 30s or 40s, probably 30s, late 30s. And if you're going to buy something and you're going to, you know, kind of rent it to yourself, at the end of 20 years or 25 years, if you're prepared to retire, your accounting firm might have some value, but maybe it doesn't. You know, really these consulting firms tend to have very little value, maybe a few clients that you could pass on to somebody, but at least you have you know, some you know, real estate that you could sell separately.
Oh, the property has great value. That's the nice thing, is he could turn around and sell it. Get another accountant in there, get anybody in there.
Yeah.
And you know what, I mean, it's money in the bank.
Yeah, I mean, not that many people have pensions these days. I mean, obviously, if you're a teacher or you know, government worker, municipal worker, you know, police officer, you're going to have a, you know, an index pension. But a lot of Canadians don't have that, and I think more than 50% don't have any defined pension plans. I mean, does anybody around the table here have a defined pension plan that I know of? I have my NHL pension, which I'm happy to say went down 27%. Unhappy, really. But what happened was, in the 2008-2009 meltdown, you know, these pensions, not just mine, but all of the NHL pension funds, I think, went down 27 or 28%. So, you know, government pensions, you know, private pensions, you know, who knows what's going to happen to those. So you really are on your own. All right, so let's go on and talk and introduce Mark Kranenburg from Greenmark Builders. And Mark, welcome to the show.
Hey, great to be here, Bruce.
So tell us about Greenmark Builders.
So we're a company that we focus on building on clients' lots. We're a purely custom builder that builds to reflect the personalities of the clients we build for. When I say purely custom builder, I mean there's no real limit to what you can do design-wise. We've got an in-house team to take care of all that, all your needs.
Do you have an architect on staff?
So what we do is we do sub it out, but we work with the same people, and we've been working together for years. And when I say in-house, I just mean that we're just a team that we work out of the same project.
So somebody has to have a lot that they own and come to you with that. Is that right?
It's not right. We have 3 of our own lots in the Greeley area that you could build in. But we prefer to build on clients' lots. We find that there's a lot of people that have bought their lots 10, 15 years ago with this dream to build a custom home. And a lot of them have even had their plans designed. Right. And just kind of haven't pulled the trigger and gone forward. We're that builder that walks in and makes your dreams come true.
Oh, that's really cool. Now, one of the things that I've said over and over again is that when people buy a lot, they bought a problem. When they buy a house, they bought a solution. I think that's where you're at.
Yeah, a lot of the time people, they're afraid of that process of going to build. But for us, that's one thing we take a lot of pride in is our process. We've been working with our trades for many years, and we try to. You
don't look old enough to these many years things that you're saying. You look like you're about 25.
Well, that's not true. Actually, I'm over 30 years old.
All right.
I've been in the business since 18. I went through the apprenticeship program at Algonquin.
At Algonquin, yeah. Great program.
Their trades and technology
program. Yeah.
Anyways, so as an 18-year-old, you know, you're
you know everything.
Business. Yeah. So now here, I've been in the business for over 12 years, and great experience.
Are you Terry-on warranted?
Yeah, we've got our Terry-on warranty.
And how many homes a year are you building?
So we're on the smaller scale. This year, we're looking at about 6 homes. We build anywhere from 4 to 6.
And what would the price range be? You know, where does it go?
So the price range varies a lot. We build what our clients need.
Right.
So we've built infill houses in the $400,000 range. We've built houses in the $1.2 million range, and it really depends on what our clients want.
Do you prefer the bigger, more expensive homes, or do you prefer the smaller, more challenging ones?
I think the smaller ones are more of a challenge, to be honest.
Yeah.
And to make everything come together for the right price for
it's hard.
It's not easy to do. The big ones a lot can be lost in the details. And the smaller ones you have to be very focused and have the right game plan.
Now, one of the big problems in the industry that I see, there's really 2 that stand out for me, apart from the budget problem, and that is late delivery. I see it over and over and over again in the custom and semi-custom building business that builders are late, and 2, after sales service. I can't tell you, I mean, you all know it, everybody around this table, and our listeners, many of them will know it, that the issues that come up after move-in, there can be 20 or 30 things that have to be fixed, and it takes a year or 2. And if you look at the Terrion website, you'll see any number of complaints by consumers about builders. So, Mark, how do you deal with that?
So a lot of it is just educating our client on what is part of Terrion and what's not part of Terrion.
Right.
So we have a 1-year homeowner manual that we go up and above what Terrion does. The Terrion process is a good process, and we feel that like drywall pops, the caulking along your tub, like these issues that are going to keep coming up. If clients keep putting those on the list for the 30-day, the 1 year, you know, it kind of gets on the client's nerves, and you know, it makes the process not so good. So we do things where we educate our client and say, okay, this is a one-time only repair, and you might as well wait till your 12-month your 12-month list.
Right.
Instead of putting it on your 30-day, putting it on your 12-month, putting it on your 2-year. You know, this is something that is general maintenance in your home, and you know, we were happy to do it for you, but you know, it's something that you're gonna probably see a little bit in the future.
Have you ever had a client from hell?
I have. Yes.
Oh, everybody's now laughing. Okay, we'll get to you too, Richard, next. Tell us about, I mean, without obviously naming any names, please, but what's a client from hell, and how did you cope with that?
The client from hell I had more was just, they were very, very, very strict on the details. However, the plans that they gave me didn't have very good details on the plans. So there was a lot of discrepancy in what the client expected and what we were expected to do. So in the end, everything was good. It was just, there was this gray area that we just had to battle through.
And have you had any battles with Terrion?
No.
So just the client from hell. Now, Richard, you were laughing. You've had at least one, and maybe how many homes does Campanale build a year now?
Typically, I mean, our goal this year is to build between 100 and 120 homes.
Okay.
We've done that consistently over the years. Campanale has been building homes now for 30 years.
Yeah, a long time.
So with the projects we have in place now, with Longfields and with our new site out in Armprior, the expectation is to get up to about between 100 and 120 homes.
Right.
Now, I can't speak from the customer service side of it because I'm not involved in that aspect. But from the sales side, you'll always run into 1 or 2 challenging customers. And
what do you do? And what are the kinds of challenges you're experiencing, and what do you do?
Well, with you know, when you're buying a home, it's like any other process. The purchaser is looking for specific things, right? And it's not always clear, so the sales process just takes longer and longer and longer because they keep adding more and more to what their wish list is, and typically they can't afford it.
Right.
So now you get into you know, it's a compromise. What do you want? What can you afford?
It's a much more difficult process than a lot of the stuff that I would have experience with, because I do a lot of commercial real estate, and you know, people make decisions and they tend to be fairly emotionless. I guess that's a word. And you know, does this make sense for my company? Maybe yes, maybe no. And if it's no, they make decisions and they make them fairly fast. I think in the residential side of the business, it takes people longer, and you know, maybe this is the first time they've done a transaction like this, or maybe they've done it twice or 3 times, but not 10. Or you know, in commercial, you often running into people who've done it 1,000 times, so they're quicker to make decisions.
Yeah, first-time home buyers certainly can be a challenge, that's for sure, because they're not familiar with the process. They have expectations. They want everything, but unfortunately, they don't have the budget to afford everything. So you try, and again, it's a compromise as to what they need, what they want, what they can afford, and then really you just need to manage their expectations.
So take us through, if I were a first-time home buyer, take me through the process, because the process starts where you're trying to decide on the design and the lot and all this good stuff, but once you have an agreement of purchase and sale with a bunch of allowances in it, you're not finished as a buyer. You have to go to a sales center.
Absolutely. Well,
take us through that.
Well, typically, your process with a first-time home buyer, they come into your sales center, they have a budget in mind, at least you hope they have a budget in mind. A lot of them we see haven't even gone for financing yet, so they don't even know what they can afford.
Okay.
So, you know, step 1, find out how much they can afford. Step 2 is find out what they're looking for. Try and get them into the product that they want, ideally that they can afford. once you've gone through that process, now you get into a whole series of upgrades. What do they want in their house? What's standard? What's an upgrade? We take them to our design center. We have an excellent designer on staff, and she'll help them go through that process as to what is.
Because that takes a lot of time.
Oh, that's a long process.
And what are when they're in the design center, what are they choosing?
Well, they're going to be looking at their flooring. They're going to be looking at their cabinetry. They're going to be looking at electrical upgrades, pot lighting, things like that. They're going to be looking at a whole multitude of plumbing fixtures and things like that. Taps and faucets and toilets and tubs and things like that they may want to
probably
change.
Fireplaces these days, kitchen cabinets,
everything is countertops, whether they want to go with a standard laminated countertop or if they want to go into something a little bit more of a hard surface like a granite or a quartz. So there's lots of different things for them to pick from, and again it all works out to what their budget
and
will allow.
Yeah, I get that, but how much time after they've done their agreement of purchase and sale and they've gone to the sales center, how much time are they spending in the sales center?
After they've done all of that, it depends on the purchaser. Some purchasers I'll see once a week.
Wow.
Some purchasers you never see them again until closing. Which is interesting because you know what, if I'm having a home built for me, I'm probably going to be on site every day.
But making everybody annoyed with you. Now, Amanda, coming back to you, out in your sales center, so what are some of the upgrades? What are the most popular upgrades? What are people doing today?
Well, we a lot of what is the generic term of upgrades is included in our base price. For instance, hardwood and
that was a sales pitch.
And all that stuff.
Nice job.
But on the upgrade side of things, I'm seeing a lot of people doing stone on their fireplace. A lot of really interesting stones.
Very cool.
Not your generic stuff that you've been seeing.
And the fireplaces are gas fireplaces mostly now, or do people still want wood?
Well, I do get a few requests for wood now and then, but you know what?
Mostly gas.
The gas is so cost efficient. That most are going that route. And then lining it with
you're not really hauling wood in and out and ash in and out.
Less mess.
Less mess. So so you're getting upgrades to fireplaces, stone. What else are you seeing?
A lot of double ensuite sinks.
Okay.
A granite countertop with a huge double barrel steel sinks. Those kinds of things. Upstairs laundry is full of cabinets and fold-out ironing boards and all sorts of techie laundry stuff. Which
I was going to ask you about the tech package that you're putting into your homes now. Are you doing anything special with the wiring, or do you have any other kind of intelligence built into your homes?
Well, we offer Rogers Smart Home Monitoring for a
so security.
Yeah, so there's some security and there's some options for pre-wiring your home for more technologically advanced things like remote thermostat monitoring, or turn on your lights, turn off your lights, make it look like you're home when you're not. Those sort of things are all available.
All right. Now, Greg, what about you? What are you seeing in the flooring business? What's happening? What are the trends?
We tend to do a lot of the trend. A few years ago was a lot of dark, dark, shiny, piano-looking floors. But we found that's not quite as common anymore because people who've bought them now realize how much of a pain they are.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Just everything shows dust.
Dust.
Dents, nicks. Pretty well, anything that can happen to a floor, which is very normal, just gets magnified with a dark, shiny floor.
So what are we seeing now?
We're doing a lot of more rustic looking stuff. A lot of the grays. A lot of the.
I'm not real fond of the grays, but I know that I see it more.
I'll tell my wife that because that's what I have.
So oops! Don't tell your wife.
I won't.
Thank you.
Well, she might listen to this.
She might. I think she might. Yeah.
But a lot of rustic stuff and wider planks and.
The wider planks. You do that, and I know you do long planks too. What are the typical lengths of your planks?
Well, our standard flooring comes up to 8 feet.
Yeah.
And then we do some of our more unique things like our engineered flooring and our specialty cut live sawn oak comes up to 12 feet.
Yeah, that would be pretty long. Now, you've done some commercial work too. I know there were, I went to a restaurant with you, and I think it was in Stittsville.
Yeah, the Fresco Bistro.
Yeah, that's the one. And you did the Hardwood in there, and I think you did their downtown location as well. Is that right?
We did, yeah. We did their downtown location about 4 years ago.
4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
And then they just opened their Stittsville, Canada location probably, I think, in November or so.
Right.
But it's a beautiful spot.
It's really beautiful. And how are they doing? How's their business going?
I think they're doing quite well.
Yeah.
I go there quite often.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you took us there. Oh,
yeah.
That was great there. It's a lovely bistro, and thank you for that, Greg. So, have you done much commercial work, or was that sort of new to you?
We do some. Like it depends. A lot of the commercial stuff's getting specified by an architect or a designer.
Right.
So in some cases, we're just delivering it there. We don't know exactly where it's going or what the application is, but we do mostly more custom homes and things like that than commercial applications.
And you work with a lot of the builders too.
Yeah, we work with mostly smaller, more custom builders.
Like Mark?
Like Mark.
Like Amanda?
Yeah, exactly.
What about Campanale?
No.
Not today.
No.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, that'd be good. So you make the flooring in your plant, and remind me again where the plant is.
Our plant's actually in Hensel, which
Okay.
is just north of London.
Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah, they both live there.
Yeah, they both live there. Okay.
One on either side of the plant.
Okay, so tell us about the plant. How big is it?
It's not very big. We have all the equipment, and the capacity that the larger manufacturers do, but we run things a lot slower and take a lot more time to make.
And you told me that results in a tougher finish?
Yeah, in the finishing, in everything. I mean, when you have the best equipment and you're running it really fast, your finished product's not going to be as nice, and you're not going to be able to catch any of the defects and things like that. Where we run our plant very slow to ensure the best quality.
And that's really your differentiated value, I think, is quality.
Yeah,
and length
definitely.
and width.
Yeah, and
choice.
The width and the length and all that pretty much comes with the quality, I guess.
I know you well enough to know that you don't like to brag, so I have to really torture Greg to tell us what he really does. So Mark, tell us what he really does.
Yeah, so I have to put in a plug for Greg too. I have to put in a plug because when you see the finish of Gaylord hardwood flooring, you know that they put the thought into it. It's not like oak and maple and birch is all run at the same rate and with the same type of paper and everything. You can tell it's a different finish, and they treat each finish differently, and each species of wood differently. And
will customers in Canada and Ontario in this market pay for that? I mean, one of the problems I think a lot of, and Richard kind of hinted at that, one of the problems that we seem to face is that Canadians have high expectations and small budgets.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The little things, like when it comes to hardwood, you don't just get a check mark for having hardwood. If your hardwood is all small pieces and looks like you got a little checkerboard floor, people aren't really into that either. So going for a product like Gaylord with the 8-foot long lengths, people notice things like that, and we like them to notice things like that.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, but there's a website out there, I think run by I don't know, some not-for-profit association that showed all the different investments that you can make in your home. Like, you put a swimming pool in, it doesn't add value, it is actually in many cases a negative value. You spend $35,000 putting in a pool, and people come in and go, oh my God, I have to heat that thing and clean that thing and put chemicals in it, it's costly and expensive, my kids could die. That thing is a negative, I got to rip it out. So it has a negative value. So there aren't that many things in Canada that you can put into these homes that people will pay for. Is hardwood one of those things? I
would say for sure. Greg's the guy to ask on that.
No, but every time I ask him that, he's too modest to say anything. So I'm going to have to ask you and then Amanda.
Well, you definitely get a big check mark. If there's carpet on the main floor of any one of houses that I build or Amanda build, people would just walk in and probably turn around and walk right back out. Is that right? So it is a real requirement now. Is that right, Amanda?
I agree. Yeah, hardwood it elevates the home to the next level of caliber of look and aesthetic, and it just is very sleek looking. And Greg offers so many different options, from a rustic finish or a
now we're
finish.
Doing a love-in with this guy.
Yeah, well, it's a great product. So
all right,
good.
Group hub. Okay, enough of this. Enough. Okay, but I want to ask you guys now, and I want this. I mean, we can't just have a show that is all about the good stuff. I said earlier that some of the negatives in the industry are always late, or many homes are delivered late, and many homes are delivered with defects. And, you know, if you look ahead now, I mean, you guys are in the business. You're all in the business. And you look ahead in the home building business, you need 26, 28, 30 trades to build a home these days when you add them all up, of all the different trades you have in there. You know, at various different times of the year, different weather, you know, all the things that go into making homes. Homes are much more difficult, in my view, than commercial structures. I built any number of commercial structures, you know, storage buildings, warehouses, industrial condos, office buildings, shopping plazas. They're both together buildings, you know. This is a tough industry. So I'm going to start, I guess, with you, Richard. You know, you look ahead 5 years, what are the biggest challenges in the industry?
That's a good question. In the city, I mean, you're talking about the construction aspect of it, but I'm looking at it more from a land perspective.
Okay.
Really, there is no land. I mean, the city's been capped, so now really one of the biggest challenges is finding affordable land, so you can build affordable homes. I mean,
that's almost an oxymoron in this area.
Exactly, but Ottawa's one of the, you know, Ottawa's one of the better cities to build in. You know,
really?
From a you know, we've got a significantly higher per capita income, so you know there's money out there.
No doubt.
And there's job security. I mean, it's a government town, so really, we're fortunate because Ottawa, when it comes to you know, the highs and the lows of the building industry, Ottawa usually is pretty well sheltered.
Yeah. So, okay, so we have, the good side is that we have a stable economy. I buy that. The bad side is that it's tough to find land that you can build on. I get that. What's it like to get a building permit from the City of Ottawa these days?
I guess it's like anything else. I mean, there's a process in place, and you follow the process. It's always going to take time.
How much time are you taking at Campanale, you know, to pull a permit?
That I'm not 100% because I'm not involved in that aspect of it. But I know in previous experiences, you could wait 6 weeks, 8 weeks, depending on what you had to do. I know working with previous builders, if the design was already in place, was already approved, you could pull a permit in 10 days.
Okay.
So again, a lot depends on what you're doing. When we do custom homes, it's going to take time.
How much time?
Oh, it could easily be 2 months before you get a permit.
Mark, what's your experience with the City of Ottawa?
Well, I feel the City of Ottawa has a good process. They've got 10 days. They're supposed to deliver their permit to you. However, if they find anything in your plans, it oftentimes will go to they'll let you know about it, you get back to them, it goes back to the bottom of the list, and could take another 10 days from when they notify you. So, yes, they can deliver in 10 days, and the last 2 permits I pulled last week and the week before, they both came, well, no, the one came within 10 days, the other one was in 15 days, and I was in my happy place thinking that happened.
Was that like the Happy Gilmore happy place?
It was the Happy Gilmore happy
Don't
place.
Ever admit that. So, we'll have to cut that out.
So, but anyways, it's you know,
that's very responsible, though. I mean, if Ottawa is truly delivering in 10 or 15, I guess, business days, that's very responsible.
Yeah, a lot of it is understanding their process and giving them what they want. If all our ducks are lined up and they just walk in and are able to review and stamp the plans, then you're going to get your permit in 10 days.
Wow. Okay, I'm impressed. Amanda, out in Carleton Place, what's the process like?
It's very similar in Carleton Place to the process of Ottawa.
Yeah.
The thing about Carleton Place is you are a bit of a smaller town, so as long as like Mark said, if you follow their process, and they're very clear about what the process is.
Right.
Follow their process, have everything in line, and they'll meet their timeline. In Carleton Place, it's 10 days as well.
Wow, okay. So, all right. I can't get any political controversy going there. Mark, you are called Greenmark builders. I guess the Mark part I can understand. The green part, tell us about that.
Yeah, so we've always been a company or I have always been a person that has kind of dreamed of what's happening in the future. What do people want? And so I'm in Twitter, Facebook, and all that sort of good social media stuff. And
YouTube, right?
YouTube.
I mean, what's your channel called?
Greenmark Builders TV. So if you go to
Greenmark Builders TV.
Yeah, so YouTube.
On YouTube, they'll figure it out.
/Greenmark Builders. So, anyways.
Greenmark Builders TV, though.
That's it.
That's
Greenmark
cool.
Builders TV.
And you're doing one YouTube video a week.
I'm doing one YouTube video.
And how many channel views have you got so far?
We've had just about 1,000. We've been doing it for about 4 weeks now, so we're just kind of getting our feet wet in it and having
That's
a lot
great,
of fun.
though. It's fun, eh?
Yeah.
I mean, all these wonderful, incredible social media tools that have been developed for us by mainly people in their 20s. You know, obviously Mark Zuckerberg in his 20s with Facebook, and Firestone and others at Twitter also in their 20s, and then you've got young Mr. Karp at Tumblr. I mean, these people are doing great stuff.
Yeah,
and the guys behind YouTube are probably in their 30s now, but you know,
yeah, well,
they're not 60.
Yeah, and we're really impressed by kind of how their systems work, and so green energy is kind of the buzz in social media
For sure.
and all that sort of stuff. So
you're right there.
We're trying to.
Okay,
to
now
be that
let's get past the
brother.
PR. We've been doing a lot of PR in this show. I'm hating it so far. Let's talk about what's real. One of the problems with the environmental movement as a whole, and the green building movement in particular, is there's a lot of talk, but not a lot of actual change. I mean, people might say, hey, we put a little bit more insulation in the home, a little bit more in the walls, a little bit more in the roof, but you know, so what? What else are you doing?
So, like, big things that we do that make a real difference by putting like a geothermal heat pump in.
All right, tell us about the geothermal heat pumps that you would put in.
So we put an open loop system where you put 2 wells. If you don't have a lot of space, you'll put 2 wells, and you're basically running a compressor, squeezing the water through a compressor, which creates heat and cool at the same time.
Right.
So,
and that's a lot less expensive than running an oil furnace.
It's a lot less to run and a lot more to install. So a couple years ago, when the huge energy grants were out there for geothermal, I was putting them in a lot of houses, almost all of our houses. But now, since the grants are kind of tapering off, we're going more to an air source unit where you're kind of combining natural gas and the efficiency, taking the best efficiency you can for your dollar, because geothermal just isn't there without the grants.
Okay. And so the listeners will understand what you're doing is you're pumping water out of one well, and you're basically taking either heat or cool out of it, depending on the season, and pumping it into the other well. So the water table isn't changing, you're just taking some heat or some cool out of it.
That's exactly what we're doing.
All right, so it's pretty efficient, but not economically competitive. That's the issue. Nothing is environmentally sustainable unless it's also economically sustainable. That's a message that I've said before on this show, and obviously one that you've been living. What are some of the other things that a concerned client of yours, or for that matter anyone else's, can do to make themselves feel better about their home being more green?
So the little things that I encourage people to do are like spray foaming your windows, spray foaming the headers, like the joists on your home. The little things that don't cost a lot of money that make a big impact difference. In the end. So these are things that we push our clients to do.
What about solar panels?
Solar panels, they're a good system. However, we're finding that the per dollar just doesn't make sense. I used to work back in the day for a solar company called Terravis Energy Solutions, and we were finding that unless you could get a very efficient system and it was less than a 6-year payoff, people weren't doing it. So we were finding solar hot water was working. But
why don't we see more solar hot water? Because we know that's one, even in a cold northern shelf city like Ottawa, you know, it is one of those things that you can get a payback 6 years.
So solar hot water, for the most part, it's just because it doesn't look great on your house, and there's not really a way of hiding it. They tidied it up, but it's not.
Okay, this is the big frustration I have. You know, the solar panels, maybe they're not working. The solar hot water, yeah, that works, but it's ugly. You know, so really, when you say Greenmark Builders, I'm still waiting to hear what is the key differentiator.
The key for us is that we've done it. We know energy efficiency. We can do it all for you, but we try to find that balance that is in your budget, that's going to give you the best product.
Do you have low flush toilets?
We have low flush toilets.
Okay, what else?
Heat recovery units on our showers.
Cool.
Trying to think what else. Oh, well, we exceed the EnerGuide 80 code. Also, Energy Star is an option for us as well. So we offer all of that. How
do you feel about the LEED program?
The LEED program is a good program. It's a lot to do with points. So if you take in a commercial building like Algonquin College, their newest trade building, They got their LEED Platinum status, which is awesome. Pretty pumped about that. The point system doesn't really make sense all the time. For example, it's a trade building. They've got no parking lot there. They've got a bicycle rack in the front. I was a trade student myself, driving a full-size F-150.
Whoops.
Definitely to work there.
Off the list, right?
And where am I supposed to park that at that building? So
yeah, not next to the bike rack.
Not next to the bike rack. So, it makes sense, but some things don't make sense. So we're about finding that balance, and for things that work.
Amanda, what do you do at Luxart to help with energy efficiency, make your buildings more green?
Well, code has recently been heightened to add a lot of the same mechanics that help to make the home more efficient, such as the heat recovery ventilation systems and things like that. And we
you ever done any geothermal?
No, it's not something we've pursued yet out where we are. It is difficult in our city subdivision to find the space for
Yeah,
that.
You wouldn't do it I don't think you would be doing that in a city subdivision.
No, you can do it though with 2 wells as long as you've got your clearance, your distance.
Yeah, that's typical city law though, I don't think so.
No.
It's mostly rural development. Well, we had a property out in Canada where we had geothermal installed, and it was about $1,000 a year to run heating and cooling, right, as opposed to whatever heating and cooling would normally be, which would be probably between $3,000 and $4,000. So I don't remember what it cost to install, but it was a fantastic opportunity. At Campanale, are you doing anything that you could say, okay, this makes it more green?
Well, other than the standard features that are required through Energy Star, we are spray foaming the headers and around the windows and things like that. The increased level of insulation in the attics. Those are all things that we do. Heat recovery, ventilation systems, those are all part of what we do as part of our package.
All right, so looking ahead to the future, Amanda, what are some of the issues that you think you can take advantage of? What are some of the challenges that you see ahead for Luxart?
Well, in terms of challenges to take advantage of, are opportunities to take advantage of. I'm in a unique situation where there is no land really restriction out where I am. It's just a matter of waiting for it to be developed. Right now there is a lot of builders coming out to the Carleton Place area, so that may change in the future, but for now we have a pretty good land supply, and it is going well. In terms of challenges, I mean, most of our crew are up to twice my age. There's not a lot of young tradespeople anymore, so trade availability is not a concern yet, but may become a concern in the near future.
Well, you went through the trades program at Algonquin, and they've really put that new building is amazing. Have you been in it?
I haven't been in the building yet, but I keep getting offers to go through. I need to take it.
Yeah, you're an alumni. You should go through it. But how do you approach the trades problem yourself, Mark? And what are some of the challenges in getting people to work for you?
We haven't really had an issue with it yet.
Because you have trades that you've been working with for years.
Yes. Well, we haven't really had an issue with it yet because we kind of stick to the same people. Whether they have problems hiring people, that might be more of the issue. But we hire companies to take care of us. So.
Now, as the population in Canada gets older, are we going to see a shortage in tradespeople?
The answer to that is yes. It's when we see it and where we see it, for sure.
Yeah. Well, you're young enough to worry about it. Richard, what do you think?
As far as tradespeople?
Yeah.
The nice thing about with Campanale is we've been working with our tradespeople for a long time.
Right.
We've got dedicated crews and they're great. So we really haven't experienced any difficulties. We have enough going on, enough building that we can keep our tradespeople happy. So they stay with us.
That's cool. All right, Greg, back to you. Now, tell us more about what the challenges are there for you. You're a Canadian manufacturer here in Ontario. You're competing against, like it's a worldwide, are there Chinese hardwood floors? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
Who are some of the competitors?
Well, we have a lot of, there's a million competitors for us. It's a really, really competitive industry.
I mean, Home Depot has hardwood, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Of sorts.
And most of the box stores, like the Rona and the Home Depot, their expensive flooring is Canadian made or North American made anyways, but they're really, really cheap stuff that everyone says, hey, I can get that at Home Depot for cheaper.
Yeah, for $1 or $2,
it's
whatever.
all coming in from China.
It is, eh?
And so it's a different, really a different market there. Like most builders, in Ottawa don't use hardwood flooring made in China. It's more of a, the box store and the do-it-yourselfer that wants, thinks he's saving a buck.
Mm-hmm.
Builders know they have to put the carry-on warranty on it. So if they put a cheap product that's not going to last in, they have to warranty
How long
it.
is that warranty for?
Well,
on the flooring?
Ours is 40 years.
Wow.
But a lot of companies, the box stores included, they offer a 25-year warranty. But what good is a warranty if, all it is a piece of paper? So if you have a problem with your Chinese floor, you're not going to be able to call up some company in China and say, hey, come and replace my floor. It just doesn't work that way. Whereas with us, I'm going to be probably answering the phone because I get the complaints.
Yeah, the owners of the shore.
But yeah, and we look after it. So, builders realize that. And if you look at most of the products in homes, builders, the ones builders like Amanda and Mark and Campanale, they're Canadian products, like from windows, kitchen cabinets.
Right.
A lot of the really important stuff is Canadian made. So builders, I think, appreciate that, but it's the do-it-yourselfers that are gonna lay a hardwood floor on a weekend when they see $8 hardwood versus $3 hardwood. They find it hard to justify unless they're educated.
Now you opened up a showroom here in Ottawa. Why Ottawa? Why not Toronto?
Well, Ottawa's a competitive market, but Toronto is
wild, I guess.
Is just ridiculous. Yeah,
really?
Like we found we do work in Toronto.
Right.
When it's if it's a custom home and they want something unique, but there's so much going on in Toronto where the retailer will label the box, that it has 26 square feet in it when it's only 22. So there's a lot of cheating and that kind of stuff going on. So it's a really dishonest market.
Wow.
And it's hard to compete in that. Ottawa is, most of our competitors here are, good established companies.
Yeah, for sure.
They're not as good as us, but
yeah, okay, I'll take your word for that.
But and in Ottawa, like Mark or Richard was saying, it's a lot of educated people and a lot of high-paying jobs
right.
and stuff like that. And people here seem to really appreciate value. I'm sure when they're buying homes, they come in with their spreadsheet all figured out, and they're looking like for the best bang for their buck.
So for Gaylord, you've got Tweed. Obviously, you've got a big showroom there, if I remember rightly. You've got a smaller showroom here in Ottawa. You're not going to expand to Toronto then? Not in the short term then?
Not in the short term. It could be something eventually, but.
Are you living in Ottawa now?
Part-time. Yeah.
Okay.
Live just down the street here.
All right.
But I live in Tweed, so I commute here every few days.
All right, so let's shift gears now. You're a married man.
I am.
And no kids yet.
No kids.
Now, you're part owner in the business. It's multi-generational Gaylord family business. How do you combine, being in a family business, obviously working lots of hours, promoting it in a new location, commuting from Tweed to Ottawa, which is how many hours to do that?
It's about 2.
2 hours. So how do you, make time for family life?
Well, I do my best. Like
you just don't sleep?
Yeah. No, I try to sleep when I can. No, my wife, she's really understanding. She puts up with me, so.
Yeah. I think that's true of all entrepreneurs. They have to have understanding partners.
Yeah, so she, at first I think she enjoyed me being away.
Okay.
Now it's getting a little bit.
Maybe we can convince you to move here.
I don't know. Maybe.
We'll see. Well, we'd love to have you here.
I need to find a builder first.
Now, Amanda, yeah, you might find one or two. Now, Amanda, you're a married person.
Yes.
Yeah. Any children?
Yep, I have 2 little babies.
How old are the babies?
2 and 8 months.
Oh my God.
Yes, so they're little.
So, same question to you. I mean, you know, you run this business with your husband. It's how many homes a year are you building?
We do about 15 a year. We try
You know,
to
that's a lot. I mean,
It is.
you know, if anybody thinks it's only 15, you know, it's not like selling a pair of shoes, right?
No, there's a little more to it.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
So how do you combine, you know, are you the president of Luxart?
We're co-owners, Chris and I. Chris, my husband, and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we have.
Do you have a title?
No, I guess we just call each other partners or
All right,
co-owners.
all right, co-owners.
Yeah.
All right, so you're a co-owner
Yeah.
at Luxart, and you have 2 very young children.
Yes.
How do you manage it?
Well, we equally are very determined, and we're willing to make concessions and work with each other to be able to make sure that we're both able to work the long hours that we have to. And
Well, that's insane.
we just do our best to find the time each day to sit down as a family and hang out with our kids, and then once the kids are in bed, we go back to work.
I hear you. All right, and what about you, Mark? Married person?
Yeah, I've been married for 8 years now, and got 2 kids.
How old are they?
3 and 4, a boy and a girl.
Wow.
Yeah, we enjoy family life too, and yes, it does take a toll owning a business and operating a business, but something that we see worthwhile because my wife stays home and takes care of our kids as well.
So she's working in the home, and you're working on homes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And how many hours a week are you working, Mark?
Well.
Now you have to be honest
I
here.
have to be honest,
Yeah, you do.
More than 60, I'll say.
Yeah, I would think.
So,
yeah.
For sure.
So it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
And Amanda, how many hours are you putting in a week?
I probably put in about 12 hours a day, 12 to
Yeah.
14 hours a day.
Yeah. Is that 6 days a week?
That's 7 days a week.
Wow.
We try to cut it to 6, but you know.
Wow.
But you know what? It's worth it. We're trying to move forward, and our family life. You know, it doesn't. Because I am able to work from my home.
Right.
I'm able to pop out and see the family, and we hang out, and we just organize our time so we're sacrificing ourselves, not our family.
So that's more than 70 hours, maybe 70 hours a week or
About
something
that,
like that.
yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, I kind of know what it's like to be an entrepreneur, and you know, having been an entrepreneur since I left the government of Canada in 1983, I worked there for 3 years, and the very first day I was working for Supply Services Canada at the Bureau of Management Consulting, I remember that afternoon I was sitting there thinking, I don't think I'm really going to like this. And it was a tough adjustment for somebody like me. And I stayed almost 3 years. You know, I had a young family. My wife and I have 5 children, and you know, we had just started a family. We had 1 kid, and you know, I needed a salary like anybody else. I needed to feed the family and myself, and so I stayed there for 3 years. But it was really every day I was thinking maybe I could do something else with my time, and an opportunity came up. I think it was '83 to buy a small company, a small real estate company, and move on. And when I did, I remember all of my colleagues for the next 2 weeks, I had to give 2 weeks notice, all of my colleagues said to me, you know, Bruce, you've made a terrible mistake. Everybody in the private sector is temporary. You have a permanent job here with a great pension, you know, lots of benefits and such like. But I just couldn't see myself staying in that environment for my whole career. Would I have had a chance to work on the Ottawa Senators and you know, built over, I guess, 1,200 homes and dozens of office buildings and shopping plazas, started over 30 businesses myself, and helped about 140 others. So, you know, you have to sort of weigh that, but I guess I would put it out to all of you guys. You know, would it be easier, Greg, just to have a job, work for the Government of Canada, put your feet up on the weekends, and not have to travel back and forth to Tweed?
I'd say 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's pretty much right.
Yeah.
No. So why do you do it?
Well, I do love it. It's a family business, so it's, you know,
yeah, it's been in your blood.
Yeah, I've been used to. I got sawdust in the veins. But I guess I'm just used to it. You know, I've watched my dad put in long hours when I was a kid,
hours,
so you just kind of grow up in it. And
so it would be easier to get a job, but not necessarily better. Am I understanding you?
Well, there's some days that I just wish I was working for Ontario Hydro or something.
Yeah, 9 to 5, or 8 to 4.
That happens
or
every
8 to
other day,
noon.
but yeah, exactly. So I am envious of people working in those jobs quite often, but yeah, in the end, I really enjoy what I do. I get to work with people like Amanda and Mark, and it's a lot of fun.
And it puts your creativity to the test as well. I mean, as I've gotten to know you pretty well over the last couple of years, and you're a creative guy. I think if you were in a job where it was, pretty much the same thing every day, you probably would grow a little stale.
Yeah, probably. Like, I know my wife has a government job,
okay.
So I know how, for me, I can put whatever I want on Twitter or Facebook, and
right.
She's been trying to get her work to start a Facebook page for years, but it's got to go through the approval process and everything. So you can react quite quickly on your own.
Yeah.
It is difficult, but I love my job. Like Greg said, it would be nice to work 8 to 4 or 7 to 3. It would actually be really great.
Yeah.
But
I'm with you on that.
But this, what we do allows us to be with our family when we want to be. If there's a family event, we can be there. If there's it allows me to work with my husband. We're side by side working every day.
That could be a good thing, but it could also be a bad thing.
We make sure there's individualized spaces in our home we can retreat to.
So you get up every day and you say, this is great.
I love my job, yes.
Wow.
It is stressful and it's difficult, but it's worth the work, and I get to work with great people.
I think that's the most important thing to say that. I mean, I would say that if you were to get a truthful answer from 100 people, maybe not many would say, that they really.
I really like
wow,
what I do.
That's so cool.
I like the adrenaline of it.
Yeah, Mark?
Well, for me, I wake up every morning kind of like Amanda, and I attack every day. I'm working my passion, and I'm having a blast at it. Like, even if you watch one of my videos, you'll see that this is what I was born to do, and I love it.
Yeah, I kind of get that from you, and I have seen one of your videos. So, Richard, what do you think? I mean, are you a married person as well?
Yeah, 21 years last week.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah,
that's
I'm
great.
the old man on the hill.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Bruce is.
Yeah. Bruce, gee, could you take the knife out of my bag? Thanks, Greg.
We balance the table, don't we?
Well, the average age here is pretty good.
Yeah.
But do you have any children?
Yeah, I have 3 daughters.
Okay.
19-year-old who's at university in the States.
Yeah.
She's my budding athlete. She plays hockey down there.
Nice.
Runs track. Cost me a small fortune.
I had 3 daughters at the same time, all in competitive dance. $10,000 per daughter per year. Right? Oh my God!
Yeah, it's nuts. I have a
you can pay your mortgage for that, right, Mark?
Oh, geez. Yeah. Well, I can tell you. I can tell you that. My 17-year-old, she's getting ready to go into Algonquin. She's going to take photography.
Wow.
And I have a 14-year-old who's in cheerleading, and she absolutely loves it.
That's so cool.
So I mean, it certainly keeps us busy. I have that job working with Campanale, not being an owner, which I'd love to. It'd be great. But putting in those hours. I absolutely love working with the Campanale boys. They're
good guys.
Phenomenal. And
good family.
It's a great family, great company. The fun thing is every day is different. It's a unique challenge, which is great. Yeah.
But when you're a manager in a growing company, there's a lot of demand on your time as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Juggling the family work-family thing, work-life balance. I had I think it was John Kelly come and give a lecture at the Telfer School of Management where I teach, and John gave a lecture and he talked about work-life balance. And I said, "Oh, that's great, John." After he'd given a wonderful talk. And John is the one of the great eminences in the tech business in Ottawa. Going back to System House and before System House, he's built a lot of great tech companies. I think Jet4, now part of Adobe, and many others. And so he gave this lecture, and I thought, oh, that's a good lecture, except I liked all of it except the part where he talked about work-life balance. And I said, John, so do you feel you have work-life balance? I do. He said, yes, I do now, because he's kind of semi-retired. I said, well, that's great. So how many hours a week are you working now? And he said, oh, I don't know, I guess just over 60. That's work-life balance? I don't think so. Because I didn't want my students to leave with the, these are student entrepreneurs. I didn't want them to leave with the idea that you can build a great business without a total mind and body commitment. Am I right about that, Mark?
Totally. I wouldn't.
Are you in it boots and all, or you just sort of wake up and you put your toe in the water?
No, I wake up and go full out. You know, every day before you go to bed, if you don't have your list, you're gonna wake up in chaos. You've got to attack every day.
Are you up at 3 o'clock in the morning making notes?
I've sometimes, but I try not to.
You try not to, yeah. But I just can't thank you all enough for coming today and spending a whole hour with the Firestone Williams Report. Scott couldn't be here today. Scott Williams couldn't be here today, so we missed him. He adds a lot to our show. But to Amanda Wagorn from Luxart Homes, Greg Gaylord, Gaylord Flooring, Mark Kranenburg from Greenmark Builders, and Richard Bureau from Campanale Homes, thank you all.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.